Her story's turning into gold. She's taking her power back. Yeah, she's on the rise. Strength in her soul, fire in her eyes. Keeping God first, watch her dreams unfold. Her life's a diamond, breaking the mold. Oh, she's taking her power back. Yeah, she's taking her power back. Harmony.
Welcome to 20 Minutes of Simple Notes from Rita. I am your host, Rita Taylor, and today I am coming to you with a wonderful episode on leadership burnout. Yes, leaders do burn out, and we're going to talk about it today with my guest, who is the founder of the Big Five Conference for Children, as well as the owner of Bling Experience, and she also serves in a leadership capacity within her ministry where she serves. And today, my guest is Lannessa Moshay. Lannessa, thank you so much for being here with me on today to help me talk about leadership burnout.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. It's a real thing that we sometimes may not want to address. And when I talk about leadership burnout, I'm not just talking about in a ministerial or ministry capacity, but from every area where you serve, whether it's on your job, whether you serve in your home as a leader, whatever. Sometimes you just burn out. But today we really kind of want to focus on ministry.
Yes.
Serving in ministry. So as we were discussing a few weeks ago, this is how we got into this conversation. And I was like, it's a needed conversation, and it's a conversation a lot of people don't want to have because it admits vulnerability.
Yes.
So I asked you to come on today to help me discuss this topic. I call it a heavy topic as it relates to burnout. Do you think there is some type of negative stigma when it comes to leadership burnout?
I think there is a thought that people might have that leaders should just continue to serve. And so I'm not really sure if it's negative to the people who are thinking about it, but it might be for those who are in leadership. They might have a stigma of thinking, I must continue to do this or else.
Right. And I think sometimes it may come from what people expect.
Yes.
And sometimes, what I've learned, that what we expect sometimes or what we think people are thinking,
Yes.
they're not always thinking that.
Exactly.
So sometimes I think we put more pressure on ourselves, and sometimes it's because of the leadership, what we call the title leadership. And I wanted to talk to you because you've actually had an experience not long ago
Yes.
dealing with this, and I think it came to a head.
Yes.
So do you mind sharing with our audience your experience? First of all, what areas at that particular time were you serving in?
All right. So just think at the height or the very beginning of COVID in Houston.
Yes.
And so all was well. Family was coming back from a family vacation. We landed back in Texas, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. Why was the rodeo being shut down? And so immediately, once we figured out what was happening and church was going to close that following Sunday, my husband and I served as the children pastors. My first thought was, oh no, I need to get word to our children. They need to still continue to hear the word of God. So from that Wednesday until Sunday, I took a crash course in Godology. He started teaching me how to record messages from my phone, edit, and then produce and upload within that time so that the children can receive a message. And so that occurred that entire, from March until December 2019, new messages on Sundays, new messages on Wednesdays. Well, that was the same year that the Big Five Conference, our not-for-profit organization, was hosting our children's conference.
Yeah.
And God said, and you're still doing that too. And I'm thinking, how does this work with the world being shut down? And so I went from recording every week 2 messages for the children, coordinating schedules for our volunteers virtually on meetings, leadership and executive meetings with the church leadership.
Yeah.
So always on Zoom, always in meetings, always planning, always recording. And then I had to adjust my mindset, like, wait, how does this work for what we usually would have an outdoor festival like,
Right.
but conference for children? How do we do that during the height of COVID? And so the Lord gave us a wonderful idea, pre-record all of the segments the dancing, the ministry pieces, all of that was going to happen pre-recorded, separate, so everyone is safe, but then go live online the day of. Well, by the time October rolled around, sis, I was done.
Yeah.
I was physically exhausted. I was homeschooling our children, still being wife, right? Still working on my business, the Bling experience, still working on the planning everything for the Big Five, and also running the children's ministry and the production side. By the time October came and left, I had no more capacity to just even think. So I was just completely done. And from there, I didn't know that I started becoming a different person because I'm extrovert. I love
Right.
being with people.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm a hugger. I'll
Yes.
handshake you. I don't meet a stranger, right? It's like, hey,
Right,
how you
yeah.
doing? I'm here to make you comfortable, that kind of thing. And so from moving from that to now just being home and always online, it kind of changed my dynamic, how I was feeling. And from there, I thought, this is feeling hard. But that was just the beginning part. After I talked to my pastor briefly, he said, take a break, plan your Big Five, come back afterwards, and then hit the ground running, 2020. Hit the ground running again. We're making adjustments to now the world is opening back up just a little. What does that look like? Well, sis, all of that is happening, but I never rested.
Yes.
There was no rest. It was
So you
like,
took a
yeah, I
little
took a
break.
break, but how much of a break can you take if you just lay down one thing when you still have all these other things happening?
I know exactly what you're talking about. And COVID came so quickly. As
COVID
far
came.
as, well, you know what I would say? I would say the shutdown. It came
I agree.
so quickly.
To our town.
Yes, it caught everyone off guard, and everybody had to pivot.
Yes.
And we're not used to pivoting, not in that manner. So you said God gave you how to do the Big Five conference, and you continue to do it. And I like what you said, that your pastor, you reached out to your pastor, and he
did.
told you to take a break.
Yes.
But that break really was not what you actually needed. It was, to me, it was like almost a Band-Aid.
Yes, I would say that because, again, take a break meant, well, you already have enough videos recorded for the children Sunday, Wednesday. You can go back and just upload those again for the remainder of the year. So I took a break from producing, but I still had ministry leaders that were serving in volunteer capacity. Here's what we need to continue to do because service is still going on virtually,
Yeah.
right? And then, of course, homeschooling our sons and other ministry obligations with the executive team at the time with the church. So I took a break from one part of ministry, but not all parts of Lannessa Moshay, right?
Right.
So when 2020 came around, I'm serving again full capacity. I'm now starting to see the children once again. And so I'm feeling great about that. But now it's like, well, how do we serve these children where they are emotionally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, right? And that was really draining on me. I didn't realize that I was still pouring a lot into other people and spending more time down at the children's church versus down with the adults where the adults are being fed. So you understand, I'm giving,
Nothing
but I
receiving.
wasn't receiving as much. And so I learned a lesson later once I hit I'm done status. And so I think that's the story you and I shared where one
Right.
day I'm home, it's a Saturday, I remember it was raining, and I'm in the room, my son and our sons and my husband were watching a game. It was football season. So I was probably watching Hallmark, just hanging out,
I
right?
love Hallmark.
Listen, me too.
Yes, Hallmark, yeah.
Hallmark. So I remember sitting on the floor, piddling around, and then all of a sudden I had this thought, I'm done.
And this was like what, 2020?
This is 2020, 2021, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
because we started kind of opening back up like in phases.
Yes.
So at that time, and you had mentioned that you didn't feel the same. You felt like there was something off with
Yeah,
you.
I felt different. I definitely felt different, sis, because again, being able to see people, shake their hand, hug them, talk with them, it's a different kind of connection versus on Zoom.
Right.
So you always have this kind of, well, I just want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing and I'm doing the right thing and we're done. Okay, next meeting. versus being able to just hang out with a girlfriend and
Yeah,
talk.
because
So,
that's completely different, especially for extrovert, what they call extrovert.
extroverts, yes,
That is just totally,
it's a need.
yeah, it is. But I think also for all people, it goes to show you how much fellowship is needed. Because you do really iron sharpens iron. So you
Yes.
didn't realize it until, or you don't realize it until you're in those periods where you are made
Yes,
to shut down and
Yes.
pull away from people.
I was hungry for
Yes,
it. Mhm.
because now me, I'm okay to a certain extent, being because I roll by myself in a minute or whatever. But even after a certain period of time, it became difficult for me as well. But I couldn't imagine because I know you. I met Lannessa back in 2015.
Yes, yes.
And Lannessa is just a friendly, outgoing person. Don't meet strangers. So I can understand where you're coming from when it says it's like taking almost oxygen from you. So with that, 2020, 2021, you felt, okay, I don't feel like Lannessa.
I'm different.
Something is
It's a little
really
Yes,
off.
Yes.
And what did you do from there?
Sis, so what I did, going back to sitting on the floor, and I realized, I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
Just
I
like
don't,
that.
yes, I don't want to do this
Anymore.
anymore. And
Mm.
so I wouldn't recommend you do this. I would recommend first you pray about it and take some time, right? I immediately pulled out my laptop or my phone actually, but I went to email and I typed this long, extensive message to my senior pastor and co-pastor
Okay.
saying I quit.
Just like that.
I
Yeah,
quit.
I'm done.
I'm done. And
You didn't talk it over with your husband, nothing. You just said forget it because they were in
poor
another room.
husband and sons were in the room watching football, having a good time.
Right.
There was no conversation. to be
Homework
had.
had you, girl. Pull it.
I didn't even talk to God about it. I was like, I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm
Forget
done.
this. Yeah.
Y'all might not be, but I am. And so what was fantastic was immediately my phone rung.
After you sent the email.
Immediately. See, I thought I was being smart by sending it via email because I don't look at my email over the weekend.
You know, people now have notifications like with their Apple
apparently,
Watches and all that kind of stuff.
So my co-pastor called me, and I knew as soon as I heard the phone, I was like, I already knew, which was wonderful.
I think so as well.
Which was wonderful. And so she said, Lannessa, are you okay?
Look at that. The first question,
Mhm.
are you okay?
Are you okay? It wasn't, what's this letter? How come you leaving? Will you quit? Nothing. Lannessa, are you okay? And I said, I don't think so. I don't believe I am.
Mm.
Like, I need a break, and I need it right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a right now type of thing. And she said, okay, what does that look like for you? And I told her, I said, I need to step away from ministering. I have nothing else to give anyone. I don't even have fumes. You know how we try to use up the last.
I know.
I
I'm
had
telling you.
no fumes.
Mhm.
And that's not a healthy space to
It's
be
not.
in. I have nothing to give anyone. I can't share a good word with a child, and that will break my heart. So I said, I need to step away, and I need to do it now. And she says, okay. After we talked more, and it was more personal, she shared, I shared. And so in that conversation, I appreciated my co-pastor even more as a human being, as a lady, as a leader, as my leader. I appreciated that she came to me and asked, how am I doing?
And that was the first thing
First
she
thing.
asked. And that, when you mentioned that, I felt like that was profound. And the reason I say that, because sometimes we benefit from people, even in from a broken space, and we see it.
We'll keep them coming. Yeah.
Right. We recognize it, but I'm a benefit because of their gifts, talents, or whatever. But the fact that she asked, are you okay? And then, what do you need?
Yes,
Those two things stuck out.
that's a blessing.
It is. And I don't think it should be taken lightly. And then from a woman's perspective,
Yes. Yes.
she really knew.
She shared, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, she's been in ministry longer than I have. I've been ministering and serving over 27 and a half years or so.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And our pastors are celebrating their 35th year this year. So
Wow.
they've been serving
A long time.
a long time. So I'm very sure she's seen
I'm
a
sure.
lot, right?
Personalities.
But what's wonderful is to know this and to still address me as a human being. So I do appreciate how my co-pastor saw me as a human being,
Right.
and she addressed me as, what can we do?
Yeah.
How can we help you? You need rest. Okay, how can we help you get that? What does that look like for you? And I told her, I said, I am stepping away, not only from ministering, but from ministry and from this church. I need to not come.
Because if you come, I don't know if you're like me. If I'm there, at some point, I'm going to be found working. Something, are people going to, and it's not in a negative way, it's not speaking down, but I think if people see you and they're used to you working, they're going to come to you. So sometimes you have to remove yourself from that space in order to get the proper rest. And I really can say thank you,
Yes.
because during that conversation, we were out, really, y'all, we were out having gelato and window shopping.
Having a good time.
We were having a ball because we were out much later than what we had planned, and we just got on this conversation.
Yes.
And it was a much needed conversation for me. And I think for you as well, because by the time we finished, it was like, this is something I think a lot of people that serve in ministry, and not saying that we know what it's like to be a pastor. I don't, definitely don't, or people in that capacity. I can only imagine what they deal with, the weight. But I think it's a subject that we sometimes want to sweep under the rug, that leaders need breaks.
I agree.
It's okay to take vacations.
Respite.
Yes,
Yes.
because when you said that you not only took a break from ministry, from serving, but from the church, can you elaborate on that? Because I want people to
Yes.
understand
Yes.
this.
So thank you so much for asking. I took a break from my home church,
Yes.
and I went to a different church. And I told my co-pastor, this is the church I'm thinking about, for two reasons. One is because I wanted her feedback. Oh, yes, that's a safe space for you to be, because again, I see myself as sheep. She's the shepherd.
Right.
And I want to make certain that I am where I'm supposed to be. And so she was good with that. The second reason is because to get her, that's great. Yes, I'm an adult, but to have my leadership's permission or stamp of approval or blessing on it, I believe that honors God and that honors our leadership. And so when I'm there, when I was visiting that church, and I was being so refreshed, it was awesome. It was amazing. I was being filled up, and I felt like life coming back into me, color coming back into my cheeks, like that kind of life, right?
Yes.
And so just that alone was such a major blessing for me. It was a blessing for our family. It was a blessing for when I did return back to ministry, and I did it at a pace that was comfortable for me, and it was agreed upon with my leaders.
And you said that it was a blessing not only for you, but your family. Because when we're not good, it spills over.
It does.
It spills over. It's so many nuggets in this conversation. It's so many. One being recognizing that you weren't good. Recognizing. When you say that, and we're really talking, but when you say that, did you feel like you were in a zone, like zoned out, you were just going through the motions? Have you ever felt like I'm here, but I'm not here? I don't even feel myself.
So for me, I like to give my all, and so that was the next step. Like, I didn't want to show up zombie.
Yeah.
I didn't want to show up like a zombie, because I work with children. Children can feel your energy. They can feel if you are genuinely a kind person, you do care about them. I wouldn't have had that for them. I had no emotion anymore, and I didn't want to show up that way. And so for me, that's the reason I was like, well, yeah, I'm done. That was my button.
Yeah, because if I'm not good for and it really is that saying, if you're not good for yourself,
Literally,
you're
I
not.
needed some oxygen because I had nothing to give to anybody else. And seeing that with my husband and with my sons, they were going to be next. So that's why I said
They were going to get it.
They were going to get it.
Yeah, it was going to shift the whole. And it takes courage, Lannessa, to admit that. And then I like the fact that you said that you did it before it spilled over, like being an actual zombie. So being a leader does not take away the fact that sometimes we get burnt out. And we have to actually acknowledge it and be okay with stepping away. And I want to kind of go a little bit more into you feeling life coming back into you, because that's really what it was.
Yes.
I think we may be close to out of time here. So we need a part 2.
Yes.
We're gonna continue to talk about this a little bit more on leadership burnout. It's a real thing, and I'm so grateful that you were willing to be vulnerable and open and transparent, really, with us on today, what it's like to be, because you're not the only one.
Yeah.
You're not the only one. I've been, and this is a conversation that's actually refreshing for me in itself, and over the period of time, even after our conversation, it's been some eye-opening experiences for me.
Right.
So I know that I'm not the only one. There are many other people that are serving in leadership in ministry that feel like you or have felt like you, or even in that space now, but is afraid to admit it, is afraid to step away, because really sometimes we bleed over on people because we're not good. We're not in a good space. So we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to have a part 2 of Leadership Burnout. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, be blessed.
She's taking her power back. Yeah, she's taking her power